Now, the 10th race of the 2025 Formula One season was the Canadian Grand Prix. And for this Canadian Grand Prix, George Russell surprised everyone in the Mercedes and put it on pole position, even though he was not part of the championship fight. But Mercedes had some good pace during that Grand Prix. In second position in qualifying was Max Verstappen. In third position was Oscar Piastri. And looking at another championship challenger, Lando Norris was starting in 7th position. So that would have been disappointing for him. Okay, so moving on to the race, George Russell was on pole position and Verstappen was second. Russell kept the lead into turn 1 and Verstappen slotted into second, and then Kimi Antonelli was in third. On lap 11, Lando Norris ended up passing Fernando Alonso, and on lap 15 he ended up passing Lewis Hamilton for third, whilst everyone else was doing their round of pit stops. Okay, so the good news was Lando Norris, who started in 7th, was pushing up the race, and trying to gain some positions. On lap 62, there was a crash between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri for 4th position. So, because Lando had the better strategy than Oscar Piastri, he had much more pace than Piastri going towards the end of the race, but he ended up, crashing into Piastri, and both of them were out of the race, which was really, really bad for both of them and their championship standings. So, at the end, George Russell won the race by only 0.2 of a second, and Max Verstappen was in second position, so he collected the 18 points, and Kimi Antonelli was in third position with 15 points. So the sad news was both the McLarens of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were not able to complete the race. Oh, sorry. Oscar Piastri ended up finishing in 4th position, surprisingly, after the crash. It was Lando Norris who finished in 18th, and he didn't score no points, so that was really, really, bad for him. And, the race finished under a safety car because of the crash. And looking at the World Championship standings after the Canadian Grand Prix, you had Oscar Piastri with 198 points, Lando Norris with 176 points, and Max Verstappen with 155 points. So Max did close the gap a little bit on Oscar Piastri, but he was still, way behind, nearly 43 points behind, which was, very, very difficult for him, to chase a very, very strong car in the McLaren and two very, very good drivers. And Lando Norris was 22 points behind his teammate, which wasn't really, really good for him. So Oscar Piastri gained 12 points on Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen gained 4 points on Oscar Piastri. So after the Canadian Grand Prix, it was firmly in the favor of Oscar Piastri, the World Championship. So he had to just, keep his head, not make any mistakes, and, drive the rest of the 14 races, cleanly and stay out of trouble. But, there was a lot of twists and turns, to go in the season. So yeah, I'll be coming with the next few races.